What's up, everybody? My name's Thomas with World Animal Foundation. I get a lot of questions about these GPS wireless fences. So I wanted to kind of put together a video for you guys just to show you the benefits that you get and some of the features you get with these GPS wireless fences, such as containment. You don't have to go out there and dig holes and lay wires. You don't have to pay for physical fencing, and all the expenses that incurs. The peace of mind you get, and just the general features and kind of a breakdown. Now, obviously, if you've seen some of my previous videos, you'll know that when I'm talking about GPS wireless fences, I'm mostly going to be talking about the SpotOn and the Halo 3 in particular. Those are my two primary GPS wireless fences, dog fences that I like to use. So that will be the primary focus of the discussion. And just a broad overview and to give you guys kind of an idea of what some of the differences are and why you may want to purchase one of these things. But as always, before we get started, I want to give a shout out to WAF, our WAF online store, the World Animal Foundation. The link is in the description box. It's a fantastic little store. It's got, especially if you're into dog dad t-shirts, these are high quality, excellent shirts. I've got several of them myself. It's eco-friendly, they're affordable, they're high quality, and most importantly, they're cute. And they're good shirts. They're not the kind of shirts that you throw in the washer and dryer and they come out 3 sizes too small. I hate that, and you're not gonna find that with these. So definitely check that out. And with that being said, let's get started on the video for today. So for the GPS wireless dog fences we're talking about today, you're basically looking at two collars. You got the Halo and you got the SpotOn. Now, they're obviously a little bulky, but at the end of the day, they look like pretty traditional collars. And they'll sit on your dog's neck pretty much like traditional collars. There are, little size inefficiencies, such as really small dogs that can't wear them, but overall, they work and function, as far as just, putting them on your dogs as a dog collar should work. You've got a number of invisible wireless fences you can create with these, and these fences are maintained using GPS, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cell coverage. There are other smart collars out there that don't use all 4 of those things, but these 2 collars specifically do, and that's how it maintains the wireless fence, the location of the wireless fence, and the location of your dog in relation to the wireless fence, of course. Now, there are several advantages to using these. Number one, they're cost effective. Obviously, as far as expense, these collars are not cheap, but at the same time, look at what you might be paying for a physical barrier. Even if you stick with cheap chain link fencing, you're probably going to end up paying a lot more money putting that fencing in than you are putting one of these collars on your dogs. They're highly effective. I've done reviews on these, and I'm sure if you go back and check those videos, you'll see that I love these collars. They're accurate, they work, they're effective, and they're great for my dog. Now, there's a few key factors with these things that you might want to know about. They're easy to set up. They don't take very long. The app integration to me is excellent. Almost as soon as you turn the collar on and download the app, one is working with the other, so they're very effective. They have a very broad coverage area. Both collars allow you to cover up to thousands of square acres. Now, there's a minimum on both. I think the Halo 3 is 25 feet by 25 feet, and the SpotOn is half an acre. And of course, they're highly convenient. You put the collar on, you send your dog outside, your dog knows not to go through a certain area, your dog comes back inside, boom. Don't have to do anything else other than that. It's very convenient. Now, choosing the right GPS wireless dog fence boils down to a couple of factors. First and foremost, you're dealing with your dog's size and your dog's temperament. Like I said earlier, very tiny dogs are not going to be able to use these collars. They simply, one of the reasons is their bulk. They simply won't curl in enough for a very small dog's neck to use. So we're talking 11 inches, 10 inches, and up only. Anything smaller than that, you're not going to be able to use these collars. Your dog's temperament. I mean, is your dog an escape artist? Does he or she like taking off whenever they go outside? I mean, that's something that you have to get under control, especially if you live close to a neighborhood or close to a major highway. I mean, these are important things. You know, your dog's not like a human. They don't know to look both ways. And what are your desired features? Like the Halo versus the SpotOn. You got the Halo's got beacons that it uses to, you know, when your dog walks within a certain sphere, the beacon deactivates your dog's collar. You can use that as a keep out zone. Or you can use it to easily walk your dog without, you know, triggering the fence mechanism. The SpotOn, on the other hand, has keep out zones. And last but not least, your budget. Both collars are relatively expensive. The Halo is cheaper than the SpotOn, but the Halo has a mandatory subscription. The SpotOn, on the other hand, is more expensive up front than the Halo, but you don't have to have a subscription if you're just keeping your dog contained. So those are some of the key factors, and you know, based on choosing the right fence or the right GPS wireless dog fence and the right collar for your particular dog and your particular needs. So the SpotOn has some interesting features to go with it. First and foremost, in fact, the first thing that comes to my mind is the forest mode and the off-grid mode. Now, with the SpotOn, you create a virtual fence. You have your GPS wireless dog fence. Like I said earlier, setting up SpotOn or the Halo GPS wireless dog fence is pretty simple. Once you open the app up, all you really have to do is fill out your dog's profile information and scan the QR code on the back of the SpotOn. And it does pretty much the rest of the work for you. You know, you've got the option if you want to go ahead and set up some subscription stuff or not. But other than that, it'll just look up your collar for you. And you don't really have to do anything as far as that's concerned. As long as your collar is on and on the charger, it will connect. Then, of course, you have the option to set up a fence right now. You can draw it out or you can walk it out. I've done some previous videos on walking out these GPS fences. And here is just a little example of how easy it is to draw out the fence. Now, off-grid mode allows you to create fencing even if you don't have any signal. Like if you're an RVer and you like to boondock and go way out into the boonies somewhere and there's no signal, you can still create a virtual fence and contain your dog within it. And if you've trained your dog previously on how to react to the virtual fence, they'll pick up on it just like that. But you also have forest mode. Forest mode is great if you have tree cover, because that tree cover is not going to interfere with the strength of the GPS signal. The SpotOn knows how to counter that effect. It covers thousands of acres. The only, I would say, drawback to the SpotOn is that you have to have at least half an acre squared. The battery lasts 22 hours. That's pretty typical with these collars. You just plug it in at night when your dogs come in for the day. Boom, it's ready to go in the morning because it only takes about an hour to 3 hours to charge. Now, as far as the Halo is concerned, in this particular case, the Halo 3 and the Halo 2 Plus, both of the collars which I have, it may not quite be as precise and accurate as the SpotOn, but what it does have that the SpotOn completely lacks is probably one of the most robust training guides and features I've ever seen on a smart collar. It's this is Cesar Millan stuff. I mean, you've got guides, you've got facts, you've got video tutorials. If you're a visual learner, Halo is the collar for you because it walks you through everything, and you can even contact customer service for questions that you have and have video conferences with them too. The app is absolutely loaded with training guides. SpotOn and the Halo, I always say you probably get about an hour, maybe 2 hours less than that in reality. But it uses radio waves, Wi-Fi, GPS, Bluetooth, cell coverage to create boundaries, to create these GPS wireless dog fences. Halo also has a activity tracking. That's, you keep them on your keychain, you can set them around the house, you can set them outside. They're great. I've got 2 of them. I use them all the time. Now, the SpotOn and the Halo obviously share a few similarities. They're both pretty thick collars. They're both pretty bulky and heavy. They both use the same kind of technology with the GPS, radio wave, cell coverage, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, blah, 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 to create a GPS wireless dog fence and contain your dog inside of that fence. Both of them are capable of covering up to, thousands of acres. The only big difference here between these two is the Halo covers a smaller area, 25 feet squared, and the SpotOn requires half an acre squared, with the narrowest point being no less than 80 feet wide. So there is if you have a small yard, you're probably going to want to go with the Halo instead of the SpotOn. In terms of price, the SpotOn is more expensive. It sits at $9.99. The Halo is $5.99. SpotOn offers a degree of more, I would say a little more customization options, especially when it comes to drawing at your fence and walking at your fence. It's not quite as clunky as the Halo, so you can really kind of get a little more in depth with your fence creations with the SpotOn. That forest mode with the tree canopy, it makes it more precise. You got a little more flexibility with the SpotOn than you do with the Halo. The Halo is better if you really have a bright open sky. In terms of which system is better, I think ultimately the SpotOn has the edge, and it could be a little bias on my part, but I have a heavy tree canopy outside. My cell coverage in this area is, it could be the cell coverage. It may not be the cell coverage. It's really hard to say, so I'm not going to make a judgment call on that. But the forest mode with the SpotOn is definitely key for me, and it's the biggest separating factor. Plus, when I travel, I have family that live in, way out of the way places, especially, some of on my dad's side of the family out on the Tennessee Cumberland Plateau. Beautiful country, no cell coverage. So the SpotOn is more versatile to me, and it's a little more precise and accurate, and I think that ultimately I have to give it the edge over the Halo. As far as tips are concerned, one of the biggest things I often see is people not maintaining the battery. These are battery intensive devices. They use up battery and they use it quickly, especially if you're tracking. That can actually reduce your battery life by several hours. Every night when your dogs come in, collar should come off and go on a charger. If you've got your dogs outside a lot, and maybe invest in a good portable charger. They'll still charge the collar up pretty quick. These batteries are not huge batteries. Update your boundary maps from time to time. Both of these collars experience what I call fence drift, and that's just the GPS. It's natural. It's not something you can escape. The fence will kind of move maybe 3 feet to the left, or to the left, I'd say west, or it may move a couple of feet north, something like that. So every now and then get in there and update your boundary maps. Make sure you train your dogs. Training them gets them used to it. Your dogs need to understand that when the collar is vibrating or making its noises, its whistles, its tones, that means they've done something they shouldn't be doing. Now, some people believe in static correction. I don't personally believe in that. My dogs were trainable from the start. They understand what the vibration means. They understand what those signals mean, and they know to come back. You'll have to work with your dog to do this, and I've done some videos showing exactly how I did it with my dogs, so it's not terribly difficult, but you do have to do it. On the bright side, it will definitely bring you closer to your dog and create more of a bond between you two. If you happen to live in an area that has, bad signal, rough signal, or it's just kind of up and down, I would invest in the SpotOn over the Halo, because you've got that off-grid mode, you've got that forest mode, and that's going to help you out in areas where cell coverage is just finicky. And every now and then, especially with the Halo, go outside and reinitialize your GPS. That's just a matter of walking outside, shaking your collar around, making sure that GPS is locking on to you quickly and efficiently. You can do it with either collar. You just kind of go outside, like I said, and just, you may look crazy to your neighbors or whatever, but just shake the collar up above your head and make sure that GPS is still working, that signal strength, the collar is being accurately tracked. So that way if something's wrong before it actually goes, before things get worse and your dog, leaves the area and the collar doesn't go off appropriately.